thank you, and enough. Thank you. Too much is taking the mick, as an old comedian friend of mine used to say. Right, this is the Chelsea FanCast. I am Stanford Chidge, and that is Darren, this is Ross, and that is my lovely mate Marco from Gate 17. Now, this is probably, I know I say this every week, but I do love the Fannies, which is basically about our match awards for the week. This is where I can have a little bit of
It's
fun.
because you get to pretend there's democracy going on.
I've never ever pretended there's a democracy on this show, Ross. This is a chidocracy, not a democracy, Ross, as you well know. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our man of the match. Now, I've got some nominations here. And I'm starting with Willian, I think, because I thought he had a great look. I tell you what I love about him. I just love he's got 100% commitment, this lad. And he's full of running, isn't he? And he's got great hair. Got curly hair, but he does. He runs. He's not very Brazilian as a player. He tackles. He runs. He's got energy.
He's got nice technique.
I think he's adjusted to the pace of the Premier League now.
Yeah.
So I think he was a bit uncertain about it all. I mean, obviously, when we played, was it Shakhtar Donetsk? Yeah. I mean, you could see he was a quality player there.
Yeah. That was a good goal he scored, wasn't it? In fact,
exactly.
Yeah. So I like a bit of Willian. I think. I didn't quite realise what I said there.
Willian, it was really nothing.
It was really nothing, exactly. I think he did score a rather good goal, and he had I mean, Ross will probably disagree with this, but I'm going to nominate Ramires as well. It was a cracking goal, but I mean, in some ways, completely mitigated by an absolutely appalling miss with about 3 minutes to go, which would have wrapped the game up. I mean, blimey. I mean, I could have done better than that. I know
the referee should have really whistled for a back pass, though, because that's
well,
what it was.
Indeed, Ross. I think well played. But I think, nevertheless, he should get a mention. And I also think Hazard, I mean, I don't think it was his best performance, but he seems to me to be the one player that we have at the moment who excites me in a footballing sense, I hasten to add. But he does. His little tricks and turns and stuff.
You've got a better beard than he does.
I have, yeah. Actually, my beard's getting a bit Father Christmassy.
A bit Shirlery, your beard.
A bit what?
Shirley.
No, he's a fine Teutonic German-looking man, is Mr. Scheuler. There we go. So those are the three nominations. I'm going to start with you, Darren.
It is a hard one because no one really stands out.
I'm struggling, to be honest, mate. I'll give you a clue.
I mean, like you say, with Ramires, he could have killed the game off. He got caught in two minds between passing, taking it himself, and did a weak pass, and didn't really work out. I don't think he had a great second half. When you're talking about defensive midfield, I know you're doing it for your joke about a plastic bag, but Ramires is the sort of person that Mourinho should be. If our full-backs attacked, Ramires should be covering them. But
who are you going to vote for?
I really don't know. I'm probably Willian because he had a good shot near the start when Torres scored and didn't really do much wrong.
All right, Willian for Dazza.
Yeah, I wrote a massive no next to Ramires.
Yeah, this is true. You won't really see this, but I'm telling you now. No! I won't go into that because let's concentrate on the positives. Hazard was good. I thought Terry had a good game at centre-back, but I thought Willian was our best of an average All right,
bunch.
Willian for you. So,
Willian.
Three Willians.
We could have gone then. Willian, Henry Stephen, Henry Richard John. Imagine that. Do you remember that from school?
I do. That's brilliant.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
No. Kings of England. Kings of England. Deary me. I'm also going to go for Willian, so we make it a unanimous vote. Very quickly, benchers, are you kind of disturbed by that at all?
Phil Nortman in the Southern Cross.
He didn't play, Steve. He would have liked to have played.
Yeah, he was a legend.
He is a legend.
Rob Dog says Willian, and then there's a couple M.A. Potters and...
Harry Potter?
Yeah, M.A. Potters and Diane CFC said it was between Hazard and Willian, but they couldn't decide.
Yeah, I think Willian, we were about right. OK, right, we're going to move on to our next award, which, of course, is Chant of the Match. And there were some interesting things here. Again, they weren't. It's a bit like the man of the match. There wasn't really too much, but there were some really funny ones. One of them, certainly, I don't know if he started it, but knowing benches, he was probably quite quick in following it. Excuse me, but we can't say the word. But basically, your poo all the time. Your poo all the time. This was in response to Palace saying, we sing what we want, we sing when we want, or whatever they were doing. It all seemed to revolve around whatever they wanted. So Paul was quite annoyed by that and got up and hurled abuse at them by saying, "You're poo all the time." You know what he really said, but you know what I mean. This one is also great. I actually quite like this, but this was in response to "Here for the Palace, you're only here for the Palace. Here for the season, you're only here for the season," which I thought was quite a good riposte from the...
Started by Cliff Organ.
Was that started by Cliff? Cliff sings?
Cliff is quite a mouthy fan, yeah.
Is he really? Where does Cliff...
Cliff sits a bit to the left of me.
He's in the shed, is he?
Yeah.
Well done, Cliff.
Stand?
He stands.
I'm feeling that a lot. That could sway my vote, the fact that Cliff started that, actually. Ooh, I'm glad you
got the rest of the shed going.
I knew it came from the shed. I didn't know it was him that started it, because it carried over very well, very quickly to Matthew
Out of the
Arding.
shed came a piercing, loud voice.
Well, Cliff Auger would have rhymed quite well with a rising young star, but...
Okay. Auger. Anyway, that augurs well, obviously, for my vote. Oh. Right, now the final one, because there weren't that many, but I did actually notice when I got home on Twitter that some wags had started a Twitter hashtag of hashtag seated songs, because basically they'd seen the email from the club about persistent standing, and they basically, people were tweeting variants on Chelsea's songs and basically getting the words sitting down or seated in it. My favourite of which was this, which is we're the seated Stamford Bridge, which I actually thought was quite funny, so I'm going to nominate that as well. But anyway, take it away, Darren.
I didn't really like the middle one here for the season, especially now I know it's Cliff as well.
Yeah,
I'd say that one. We didn't really have much else. It'd have been nice to have given David Luiz his song, although he didn't play very well, just because he's only just come back in a team and given some confidence, and he clearly needs some confidence at the moment.
He needs a bit of love, doesn't he? He needs a bit of dazzle love, mate.
Well, happily. But here...
Would Denise let you do that?
Yeah, of course you would. Here for the season, it's got to be.
Yeah.
And they are here for the season.
So that means that really you're Denise's wife. Yeah, think about it.
So Denise should be singing it.
Exactly. Anyway, so Denise. Yes, I had come up with a good song by the way, didn't I? Anyway, so you're going for that. Here for the season. I'm going to go for here for the season.
Of course, I'm going
here
for
the
it.
season.
Can I go for an ironic one?
Yes.
Well, I thought it was really funny when the Palace fans started singing "Sit Down, Mourinho." Obviously, Pulis has only been at Palace for about 3 games, but if they knew him. Pulis has never sat down at a football game, ever.
No, that's very good. But it's you can have that. But
here for the season.
Yeah, here for the season. Cliff Auger. Well done, Cliff. I had no idea. That's brilliant. Benches, are you concurring?
Yeah.
Certainly,
Okay.
Gillian Bromfield as well, she agrees.
Okay, lovely stuff. We are unanimous with that.
Thank you, Gillian.
Thank you, people out in Mixlerland. It's lovely that you're paying attention. Right, now, talking of singing, and talking of Marco's book, which we will be later on in the programme, but it's very much about the first 10 years, the first glorious 10 years of Roman's rule, and a lot of us were asked to write articles about what had, floated our boat most during those 10 years, and I wrote an article in it, and basically one of the moments that I mentioned was obviously Munich, but of course, you know me, it wasn't really about the game per se, it was much more about what we got up to in Ross, the
Augustina Keller Beer Garden, just north of Bahnhof Station.
Almost, close enough. Now, what you lot don't know, I mean, you've heard me talk about it so many times, but what you have never done is seen it. And here, for the first time on the Chelsea FanCast, is the evidence of what happened in the Augustina
Keller Beer Garden.
Beer Garden, just north of Hauptbahnhof.
Well, we're here in Munich, and I've got a promise of a ticket, so I'll be going there. Unarmed in the posh seats, mate. Chelsea boys, we are here. Whoa, whoa. Chelsea boys, we are here. Whoa, whoa.
Joe Terry has won the double. Double. Joe Terry has won the double. And the second line has got again. Joe Terry has won the double.
One song. You've only got one song. My only Chelsea. You made me happy. My scars are grey. But never noticed how much I love you. Until you take my Chelsea away.
Wow, God, blimey, that really does bring it all flooding back. Now, you'll be delighted to know there is more to that. That is part 1 of 3 parts. And in the new year, when we're back, we will be running those 2 parts. And I've seen the second part already, and my goodness me, it brings a lump to the old throat. Now, as you can see, it's great fun when we have a few videos on the show where we've been giving it large in places, particularly abroad. So if you want to have a video that you've shot on the show, all you have to do is to, A, film it properly. So that would be, like that. Not like that. Landscape, not portrait. And then you can email me, chelseafancast@gmail.com, and then we'll figure out how we get it on the show. But please do that. Was that good or what? Did you enjoy that?
I did, yeah.
You've never seen that before, have you?
No, I hadn't.
That was wonderful. Isn't that good?
I hadn't either, but it didn't have my favourite bit in it. No, not me. When there's some Munich fans who went past, I think there's like 2 of them, they started saying about, we weren't going to win and this sort of stuff. And you turned to her and you went, off, and there's only one team, Matteo, and everyone joined in, but it's just brilliant the aggression you showed when you shouted it before singing.
I suddenly stood up for the Chelsea that day. All right, we should move on, sadly. We will talk about that later on, no doubt. Right, it's now time for the Guinness moment, appropriately enough. Sadly not served in a stein. Right, I've got 3 nominations here, and they're all crackers. Mata's back heel to Branner. Basically, Willian fired a ball up the touchline and Mata somehow controlled it all in one movement and then managed to back heel it to Branner, who then sadly fell over. But that moment was quality and it did make me go, ooh. Ramires' goal, I thought, definitely worth a shout. That was a worldie from Ramires. It's a shame he doesn't try that more often. I love the fact, I wish they would shoot more. Rather than tick-a-tacker it around the box, have a pop occasionally. Lovely shot, loved that. And Torres' layoff to Willian, I think I was talking about this in part 2, but I thought that was brilliant and indicative of the fact that when Torres doesn't actually have to think about anything, invariably it's brilliant, and that certainly was.
Same with Ramires, actually.
OK, so those are the nominations. What would you like, Ross?
I don't think you can really go much further than Ramires' goal. It was like a 3-wood straight down the green. It was like a rocket.
It went straight down the middle. Yeah. It went straight down the middle. Well, probably didn't, because it kind of went in the top left. But other than that, I know what you mean.
Cracking.
Is that all you've got to say about that?
It is, yes.
There you go. Definitively from Ross. Darren?
I was looking at Marco to see if that was going to be a song when you were saying
it
about
it.
No.
Crosby, mate. Straight down the middle.
All right, OK.
You didn't know I was a bit of a crooner, really, did you, Darren?
I didn't know. Ramires' goal, I put money on him to score any time, but Chelsea to win 4-1. And there's only a £5, but at half time I thought I should put 20 quid on it, and obviously I'm glad I didn't now. But I thought Ramires would score. It's a great goal of his, so I'll go for Ramires.
Yeah, you go for Ramires. So that's 2 for Ramires. Marco.
There are no English kings called Ramires.
There aren't.
But I'll go with Ramires.
OK, no, Ramires is good. I'm actually going to go for the well, I can understand what
William, Henry, Stephen, Henry, Richard, John, Ramires.
Ramires, yeah. That was when the Spanish took us over for a week.
Can Misty Blue do the name yet? Can Misty Blue pronounce his name properly?
Amires.
Does she still say that?
Yeah.
Amires. Right, OK, that's 3 for Ramires, so I am outvoted, but I am going to go for Mata's back heel, because I just thought it was brilliant. But we have 1 with Ramires, and that's fair enough. Benches, what do you lot think? What do the Twitter and Mixler Massive have to say about it?
What do you think, Andy?
Mata.
Oh.
Yeah, Mata for me as well.
Oh.
Rambo's goal. Ooh moment.
Yeah, there's one on here, Chidge, from Elder66, and he says he think he read Ramires' lips just before it. He said, Chidge, I'll show you inconsistent.
Yeah. I think I know who Elder... Was it Elder?
Elder66.
I think that's James Copper, who I absolutely love. If it is you, James, I hope you're all right, fella. I hope I see you soon.
If it's not, that's a bit weird.
If it's not, that is a bit weird. That is true, Ross.
William Henry Stephen, isn't it?
It could be. Sorry, what's that again, Marco?
William Henry Stephen. Henry Richard John. I wish I could remember the rest of it.
Yeah, so do I, actually. I'll work on it during the break.
I thought James Cobb would be Edger, by the way, not Elder. I think
maybe
the wrong person.
Well, OK, who cares? It's only a show. Enough. Ramires gets it. Right, now, this is, again, probably my favourite bit. We've got some cracking Celery moments this week, and the first of which is... this is just a choice, because especially when it's down my end. Luiz smacking the defender in the face with his free kick. Did you see that?
Of course I saw it.
He blasted it, and it hit this defender, who's a big lump, I don't know who it was, and he went down. Bosh, you could hear him, you could hear the ball smack him in the face. I love all of that. Proper old school that was. The next two are kind of in the category of proper Chelseness, really. The first is the fact that we all drink in the hand and flower after the game, and I was in there. And Nigel Spackman was drinking in the pub. Spackers. Na 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 Spackman. There he is.
Can we talk about the Spackman entrance?
Yeah, that's the only thing with him. He slags off Chelsea. Well, he would always want Liverpool win.
I want to see that photograph again because there's some right old reprobates in there as well. I think it's Lee Evans, Dave Evans, and our great mate Pete Carroll, whose photograph that is. So thanks, Pete, for letting us use your photo. But I love the fact that Spack was in there drinking with the fans. Brilliant. He was lovely. He was on cracking form. Big Phil went up to him with a copy of Marco's book, which I'd made him buy at the stall earlier. And, he basically went up to get Spackers to sign it. And I said, no, mate, you should have gone up there and said, Spackers, you can have this book and I'll sign the article that's written about me in it. But he didn't have the minerals to do it, sadly. But there we go. Now, the last Celery moment nomination is one that we will all love. But one of our favourite people, Marco's introduction to Walter's bit in his new book is fantastic. I think he says something like, if the shed was still a terrace, Walter would be one of the leaders of the shed. But anyway, on Saturday, he got to go on the pitch. Can we see the picture of that? There we go.
Yay.
So we've got Pete Trenter on the left, and we've got Walter
Pete's
next to him.
down in that picture.
Yeah, Pete is, I don't know how they actually managed to get Pete in a picture where the aspect ratio is that kind of, narrow. But anyway, Walter is basically receiving a cheque on behalf of Regenerate UK, our favourite charity, and I think that's basically money that was raised at the Supporters Football Tournament, wasn't it, by CSG. Yeah. So A, well done to CSG. B, well done to Pete. And, of course, we love Walter, and that's brilliant to see him on there. As Walter said on Twitter, that's the first time he's been on the Stamford Bridge pitch since Wolves at home in 1994. If you were there, you'll know why. Anyway, so those are the 3 nominations, Ross.
Well, Spackman was one of my dad's favourite players, but I think we've got to go for Regenerate and Walter and the CSG.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's what I'm going for.
Darren?
Yeah, it was a great free kick, but you've got to go for Walter Regenerate. And Tony Broadbent was there as well. So, yeah.
Okay. So 2 for Walter.
Walter!
Oh, pressure. The pressure's on me. I've got to go for Walter because I absolutely love the bloke, and I love Pete too. And it was really good to see Pete and Walter, in fact, at the Trust Party on Friday night. So I think absolutely gladly I will award the Celery moment for this week for all of that. Regenerate, getting the money, CSG, Chelsea Sports Group organising it, all brilliant stuff. But what do the people on the benches think?
AVB getting a sack from Spurs.
Irrelevant, move on. No, well, he is irrelevant and he has moved on. But I mean, sorry, Bunsey, but out of those 3, what would you like? What did you like?
Walter.
Yeah, Walter.
Walter? Are we feeling a lot of love for Walter?
Yeah.
Good stuff. What about Twitter and Mixler, Chad?
No, they're agreeing with Bunsey with AVB getting sacked, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, you don't know the rules, so go away.
And keep listening.
Yeah. Well, no, don't go away, don't go away. Stay where you are. Stay where you are, and do not touch that dial. Blimey. Anyway, I think that's about all we've got time for on the Fannies this week, but it's great. I do love the Celery moments. It's really nice when you're there and you have some photographic evidence of it. It's not often that we do all that. Anyway, enough of all of that. Hopefully we'll be talking about a few more Celery type moments and a bit of being Chels and a bit of proper Chelsness, because I think that when you get to have the pleasure of having somebody like Marco on the show, who's written so many books about that subject, and this one here, Making History, Not Reliving It, I think will probably go down as one of the best Chelsea books ever written. And we are going to be talking all about it in a very, 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 very few moments. Come back in a minute.